Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for how to create a mission statement for your produce operation. I'm going to wait a few more minutes so give a couple others a chance to join us this morning. We're still waiting on some more attendees. And then I will introduce our speaker and we'll get started. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started here. My name is Beth Knorr. I am the market manager here at Countryside Conservancy, and I'm also managing the series of business webinars for produce growers. This webinar and all of our series of webinars are supported through a specialty crop block grant made available through the state of Ohio. And this morning we have Katie Myers joining us. Katie is the programs manager here at Countryside Conservancy, and she is also the owner of Jack Farms, which is a CSA farm, also with hogs, broilers, and turkeys. And she also leads our Exploring the Small Farm Dream course here at Countryside. So she's going to share a little bit of her knowledge about how to craft a mission statement for your operation that makes sense and can help you leverage capital for your business. So Katie, thanks for joining us this morning, and we can get started.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks for allowing me to do this today. Well, I wanted to just introduce myself a little bit and give you my background. I grew up on a 40-cow dairy farm in Lorraine County. We also had 7 acres of produce. We marketed our products at a farm market, which we had on the property, and we packaged and sold produce to Rini Rigos, which then became Stop and Shop, which then became Giant Eagle. Once the merger with Giant Eagle happened, they no longer sourced from us. We also packaged and sold products to the West Side Market in Cleveland. And the funny thing with the West Side Market is we would have to pack the trucks at about 3 in the morning and arrive at the West Side Market at 4 in the morning. And literally, vendors would be chasing the trucks of fresh produce down, which, you know, we always laughed at my dad when he told us that. But then when we went with him, we saw it was true, and they would start fighting immediately over the products, which is kind of a shift in how it operates today. At the same time, we had many other farm-type ventures. We sold pallets and crates and baskets, and we baled the neighbor's hay, and we milked the not only our cows, but also the neighbor's cows, and we operated a trucking company. All of that was going on before the produce part. And there was a point when my dad decided to diversify the operation and get into produce. And it was to pay for his 4 kids, my brothers and sisters and myself, to go to private schools. Presently, I own and manage Jackpot Farms, but I'll be honest with you, my 15-year-old son does the bulk of the work. He is an FFA, and so currently he has a small 5-member CSA, and he raises hogs for pork, chickens, turkeys, eggs, and of course I'm his right-hand man, but I'm not going to take credit for what he actually does most of the time. My professional background is in planning. I have a BA in planning from Cleveland State University, and I've worked with communities in the past in writing their plans and helping them create mission statements as well. So we're going to get right into this and talk about a mission statement. So what is a mission statement? Generally, a mission statement will answer the question, what is the purpose of my business? Or you can complete the statement, the purpose of my business is blank. I've listed up here some internet sources with dictionaries, and I put Urban Dictionary because I thought it was pretty funny that they don't take value in a mission statement. But you will find that mission statements are very important for your business. So what is the purpose of a mission statement? Why is it important? Many people will tell you that you don't need a mission statement for your business. But I say, oh, yes, you do. And the main reason is going to be for financing your farm and actually getting capital. The American Farmland Trust has identified the 4 main barriers to produce farming and farming in general, actually. Access to available land, access to labor and training, and access to capital. People have a hard time actually getting capital. So I wanted to start and show you something from Farm Service Agency, and I have the link up here. I was going to try and open it for you. This is Farm Service Agency's guide to getting farm loans, farm grants, whatever it may be that you're going to go through the USDA to get money for to operate your farm. And you'll see, and sorry that I'm scrolling through this document, but I wanted to show you the exact page where it talks about a mission statement. And Farm Service Agency is the largest farm credit lender in the United States. And they typically lend to people who are not able to get lending from a traditional bank. So if you went to your bank and they declined you because maybe they feel you don't have enough collateral or you don't have the right equipment, and especially produce farmers run into this problem, Farm Service Agency is going to be a better place for you to go get credit. And so they have their eligibility requirements. And it says, why do you need a business plan? They require you, as a person looking for money, to have a business plan. It tells you that it's like your roadmap, and we're going to talk a little more about that. Then they break it down. They say, in order to get an FSA loan, you need to have a mission, a vision, and goals for your farm or ranch. So this isn't just me saying that it's important. It's your lender saying that. In addition to that, you may talk to individual investors. And if any of you have ever worked in a nonprofit organization or a school or anywhere where you're going to get investors, they want to know, well, what are you doing? Why should I give you money? It's no different when you're talking about your farm. The other interesting and new source of funding for small farms is crowdsourcing. And you use particular websites and you create a video about your farm. And I have one here to show you an example. It's from Indiegogo is the actual website. But this is a small organic, they actually do tea. And we're not going to watch the whole thing, but
Hi, I'm Shelley from Sweet Pea Gardens. You know, I've always enjoyed a delicious cup of herbal tea, but what I've discovered is that it's not so easy to produce the perfect cup of herbal tea. In the 5 years I've been growing and producing my own teas here on the North Coast, I've discovered the secrets to growing the perfect cup of herbal tea and producing it for others. The most important elements of creating the perfect cup of tea are having a really good drying shed with
so why I put that up there is that's exactly what you do. You create a short 3-minute video about your farm. The first thing she said is, I've always enjoyed a perfect cup of tea, and I want people to enjoy that as well. So she gave you her mission statement in the first 2 seconds of her video. Now, we're not going to go into how those videos actually finance your farm, but the point of me showing it was to show you the importance of it. And an overall farm business plan, the mission statement is the foundation. Your plan actually becomes your farm Bible, as I call it. It's your direction for your farm, and it will help you out. Now, we surveyed our own database of farm seekers, people that are looking for farms, and I thought it was interesting to find out that 79% of them wanted to do produce operations. Only 32% of them actually had a business plan, and of that 32%, only 14% were approved for a loan. So as you can see, in order to acquire funding, it's pretty important to have a mission for your farm. So we start with why. Why do you do what you do? And you can see Bill Gates 30 years ago wanted to start Microsoft because he wanted a computer on every desk. That was his why. It has since changed. I think they changed their vision, their mission statement maybe 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. It's much more complex now. But when he started the business, that was it. A computer on every desk. So there's a lot of reasons why you might do what you do, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be the same why as anyone else. And it can actually be a selfish why. Some people are just doing it to make more money. That's okay if that's your why. I'm not sure that, businesses are going to look at, well, I just want to make money, and think, well, yeah, let me invest in that because I know that you're going to do it. Now, for my dad, his why was all about us 4 kids and our education. He wanted to be able to earn extra income from the produce to send us to private schools, and it worked. The funny thing is, after my youngest brother graduated from private schools, it was not 2 years, and my dad ended the produce portion of the farm. As we all know, it's hard work, and I think he was done at that point. But your why may be that you want to feed your families and neighbors, or you want to be your own boss, or whatever your want, your belief, or your have to is okay. It's taking that why and shaping it into something that will resonate with other people. So here's some examples of mission statements. We start with Blossom and Sprouts Farm in New Mexico. It's obvious through their mission statement that they want people on their farm, they want to be teaching people, they want it to be interactive, and I'm assuming that eventually, or maybe even in the back of their mind now, they're looking at their farm as more of a non-profit type farm where they may eventually go to that stage, because there's more about learning and teaching. Now, the mission statement for our farm, Jackpot Farms, this was written by my 15-year-old son. because he does the bulk of the work. We sat down and I asked him, well, why do you want to do this? And besides the obvious of having a summer job, he said, well, homegrown foods are just juicier and more delicious. And I get excited when I can share it with family members and people at church. And so this is what he crafted, to provide juicy and delicious homegrown food for our family, friends, and neighbors. You don't have to mention where you are or who you're serving. Some people do that, but you don't need to do that. Because after your mission statement, you should work on your farm profile anyway. And following the mission statement, the farm profile will tell people where you are, who you serve, how you market. You really want your mission statement to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to show you some examples of longer mission statements as well. And many families for themselves have mission statements. And the shorter they are, the better. And if you think about it this way, I have a friend of mine, they go to church with us, and they have 5 kids under the age of 7. So their house is crazy all the time. Their mission statement comes directly out of the Bible, and it's, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And what they told me that they do is when their kids are acting naughty or they're being crazy, they just ask them, are you serving the Lord? And it's kind of funny because the kids have associated that mission statement with how they're supposed to behave. That example is the same for a business. Your mission statement should direct you and guide you as to what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, but it doesn't have to specifically say that in that statement. So here are some examples of mission statements. And it was actually hard for me to find farms that had mission statements. Most of these come from right here in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, the farms that operate here in the national park. So theirs are tied directly to what they're doing in the national park. Basket of Life Farm, helping restore the agricultural heritage of the Cuyahoga Valley. And you'll notice Greenfield Berries Farm mission statement is pretty lengthy. I read through it, and I'm happy to read through it. I know the farmers themselves, and they do a great job. It's a long mission statement, and it's something that you want to think about as you're reading their mission statements. What is attractive to you, and what can you tolerate, and what's resonating with you? So you want to look at that and think about how they make you feel. Do they tell you enough that you want to buy from them or invest in them? Probably not, but the mission statement itself is not going to attract your investors. It's just the beginning of that process that you want to go through anyway. You want to be careful when you're creating a mission statement or actually even signage at your produce farm. You never want to claim to be something to do something that you don't, or to be something that you aren't. You want to be real honest about who you are and what you do. Don't claim to have the best tomatoes in Ohio if you have never won that award. And an award given to you by your family members doesn't count. However, if your town has a tomato fest and your tomatoes won the best tomatoes in Fairfield County, then that's something that you could claim. I'm not sure you want to claim it in your mission statement, but you may want to, and that's okay. You have to be really careful about calling yourself certified, certified organic, and just really be honest with people, because we find that your loyalty to that customer is greater if you're honest. You wouldn't want to claim to be, growing organically and you're not. And we can ask that question about the rules of calling yourself certified organic when you're not, because I don't really know them, but she probably does. Also, you can be honest about your size. It's okay to be a small farm. You don't have to be the farm that has, 400 customers and, you're grossing $80,000. It's okay to be small, but most importantly, it's to be honest. Sally Jewell, who is the CEO of REI, which is an outdoor equipment co-op. You may have heard her recently in the news. President Obama is hoping to nominate her as Secretary of the Department of Interior. But she was on NPR the other day, and she said, there's no mission without margin. And I thought about that, maybe, you're absolutely true. Your mission statement is very important, but if your business is not making money, your mission statement probably doesn't matter. Because ultimately, when you go into business, it's about the bottom line. Now, I understand, some farms, the first 10 years, you may not be making a profit. But ultimately, that's your goal, is to make money. If it's not your goal, maybe you need to look at the direction of your farm and don't choose commercial operation. But all mission statements should be timeless and free of jargon. You don't want to use words that are just trendy and hip right now, or use a lot of agricultural terms that non-farmers don't understand. You want them to relate to your farm because they're a person who eats, and that may be where it stops. Many companies do change and tweak and adjust their mission statements, just like I mentioned, Microsoft had that same mission statement for probably 25 years. They did change it because now everyone does have a computer on their desk. They not only have it on their desk, they have it in their car, they have it in their hand. So they've fulfilled their mission. But you don't want to be changing every year. You don't want to shift focus too often. You may come to a point where you decide you're going to diversify your operation and not just do produce, and you want to make sure that that other product is incorporated somehow. So changing a word here and there may not be bad, but I would still steer away from doing that too often. Not only do the funders like to see that you have a solid plan, your customers like to see that you're consistent. Your mission statement needs to be clear and to the point. I did show you some examples of longer mission statements. If it's clear and long, I think that's okay, but we are living in a society where people have like 7-second attention spans. So if you can't spit it out in about 7 seconds, you may want to think about revising that. Now I want to talk just a little bit about your company, your business, not only being profitable, but being sustainable. And you may have the point of view where sustainability is not important to you. I personally and our organization as a whole really think that sustainability is important. So when you have a sustainable farm, you have a triple bottom line. It's not just the financially viable. That's a huge piece of any business. But you also want to think about your environment and do what is right for the soils and the waters and the resources, but also be socially responsible. And you may look at this triple bottom line, and one may be more important to you, and that's okay. When you look at this triple bottom line, you can decide, well, to me, it's most important to be socially responsible. So maybe my mission statement is going to reflect that. Or you may be really concerned about the environment and farming in practices that are least harmful to the environment. So your mission statement may want to reflect that. I haven't seen a lot of mission statements that just focus on the financially viable. We hear hip-hop songs about that, but I haven't heard many mission statements, where I just want to be rich. Because that doesn't resonate with people. Everybody wants more money, and I think that's a given. But you want your investors, especially if you're doing that sort of crowdsourcing with video type, you want it to reach a broad audience, and you want them to say, hey, you know what, not only is she cute, but she has a good idea, and I really like her, and she needs $5,200 to build a drying shack. I'm going to give her $10. And eventually that adds up. So at this time, Beth, are there any questions?
Right now, we haven't had any questions typed in, but at any time throughout the presentation, feel free to type in your questions, and we'll have Katie address them either at the end or throughout. So feel free in your little box there to type in any questions you have and send those on into us.
And actually, I don't have a lot more on mission statements. But if we want to go back into the FSA document and talk a little bit about what happens after the mission statement, I would like to share this with you. And we may have to at some point do another webinar on not just the mission statement. So after you have created that mission statement, you know what the direction of your farm is taking. Now, I'll use my son's mission statement as an example. He wants to provide fresh and juicy foods to family, friends, and neighbors. So the goals would be to create a CSA, and he did that. And another goal may be to recruit new members, and he did that. Then he also has to, and just a side note, youth like 15-year-olds are eligible for FSA loans for farming ventures. So he is eligible to take out his own FSA loan, and it still requires all of this type information. So even as a 15-year-old, he has to work on creating his mission. And a lot of times the mission and vision, they're used interchangeably. Actually, mission statement, vision statement, purpose statement, they're all used interchangeably. He also has to be able to set goals for his farm, attainable goals, and they relate back to your mission. You know, if you are only growing mushrooms, for example, you don't want to have goals that talk about diversifying your product into something else that's different. If your focus is mushrooms, keep the focus as mushrooms, create your mission and your goals around the mushrooms. You also have to be able to list your current assets and your current liabilities. You have to be able to say what you will produce, how, and where. And we talked about that earlier. It doesn't have to be in your mission statement, and I actually would strongly discourage putting that in your mission statement. But your farm profile should have that. You say, I'm located in Shreve, Ohio. I'm going to market directly to customers. I'm going to solicit sales via Facebook, Craigslist, email list, whatever it is that you're going to do. And as they have written here, it's sometimes referred to as a marketing plan. It doesn't have to be an extensive plan. Again, it all goes back to your mission statement, but you don't write that information in your mission statement. And the most important, and this is where that sustainable, triple bottom line comes in. Will the amount of income that you generate be able to pay your business and your family living expenses? And you need to be honest with yourself. It may not. It may not the first 10 years, but your ultimate goal is that it would be completely sustainable and at least paying for itself and paying you a salary. Some farms are never able to get out of that trap where they're not able to fund themselves. And at that time, you probably want to go back and reevaluate your mission, reevaluate your goals, and actually reevaluate your management practices. That is an entire different webinar, though. Oops. Sorry about that. But at this point, it's a half hour in, and I don't have a lot more information on mission statements, so I would like to answer questions if there's any questions.
Hi, Katie. So we do have a question, and the question is about expanding on long-term goals for your farm operation. So this person is comfortable with, their explaining their crop choices and so on for their farm in their mission statement. But down the line, they want to offer mentoring opportunities and so on and so forth. So, but that's a longer-term goal. So do you think that that's something that should be included in a mission statement, or is that something that is left is it better plugged in someplace else?
That's a good question. I would not put it in your mission statement. Your longer term goals are definitely something that you want to have written down. You want to have available for people to see. If you have a website, you can list them on your website. You may be able to add a tagline with the desire to mentor or something along that line, but I wouldn't put it in your mission statement if it's a longer-term goal. Like I said, you don't want to change your mission statement a lot, but if the focus of your farm is switching from just production to include this mentoring, you may want to, at that time, shift your mission statement a little bit. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, she said it answered her question.
Okay.
If anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to type them in. Katie, I have a question for you about mission statements and then subsequent, creating your business plan subsequently. How do you go about fitting in the rest of your business plan behind your mission statement? I know that that's kind of the guiding principle, but is the rest of your business plan really directed to helping you fulfill that, or how does that actually work when you're building your business plan?
That's a good question, too. Your goals and objectives should speak back to your mission statement. However, most business plans want to go into greater detail about your financials and how you're going to do it. You yourself should be married to your mission statement. But your financials, a business statement, a business plan, is telling you what resources do I need, how am I going to make this happen, and with what. So you have to do a lot of research about your customers, and some people actually create their mission statement after they've written their business plan, because they go through the research, and maybe originally they thought that they want to market directly to the customer. Then they do their research and write their business plan and say, well, where I live, it makes more sense for me to go wholesale. So that may change their mission statement. Some people actually do prefer to write it after their business plan, because they've thought about their goals and what they're hoping to do. They've done the research on their customer base, on their area, what grows well, what sells well, where are their gaps in the markets, etc. And then figure out that, well, maybe direct marketing isn't best for me, and their mission statement would reflect that.
Does anyone have any other questions? If there are no further questions, and Katie, you don't have anything else to share with us, I think we can probably just wrap it up. We will have the webinar posted online in the next week or so, so you can refer back to it and follow the links that Katie has in her presentation. And we will have more webinars upcoming in the next, we'll be doing once a month webinars, so keep your eyes out for those. And also there's a short survey after this webinar, and please take a few moments to fill that out. That helps us fulfill our requirements for the grant that is making these possible. So thank you everyone for attending, and we hope it was helpful in helping you come up with your mission statement, and we hope you'll join us again.